Ann Panthen.
Here. Thank you. I think today we have, oh, are there any additions to the agenda? Anyone have any? Nope. All right. We have two sets of minutes to approve. The first one is May 20th. Do we have a motion to approve that one?
I'll put forth that motion.
Second?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then we have the June 17th, 2025 minutes.
Two things. One, are the microphones on?
The speakers are a little quiet.
Okay. Also, Vahagan is,
Bahagan's coming.
yeah.
I'll move approval of the June 17th, 2025 minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Public input. Do we have any public input? There's no unfinished business.
Just got in time for new business.
New business. We'll let you get seated. Okay. So we have consideration of the EEO workforce statistics.
Okay, so I will put forth the motion for these companies to be approved for the following amount of time. Kirby and Turner Masonry Incorporated for 2 years. MES Service Company LLC for 2 years. Rush Truck Center of Illinois Incorporated for 2 years. And Western Waterproofing Company LLC for 1 year.
Do we have a second?
I would second that.
Any discussion?
One quick question, mostly for staff, I think. You made a recommendation for 2 years for Kirby and Turner Masonry and for 1 year for Western Waterproofing. And I don't feel strongly one way or the other, but both of them had done some good faith efforts, and the numbers are about equivalent, and they had a little bit of addition, I think, but nothing significant. I was wondering on what basis you made the distinction. I couldn't really tell from the notes you put in. And like I said, both of them were relatively close in terms of efforts and numbers, so I was trying to figure out what you noticed that maybe I didn't.
If you look at the third bullet point of my recommendations for Rush. For which one? Rush Truck.
I was comparing Kirby and Western. Because Kirby got 2 years and Western got 1, and the differences didn't seem that different.
For what, for Kirby? we focused mainly on the second bullet point for Kirby, is that they increased their minority and representation over their last certification. And Western, they've increased their minority representation. They had a strong good faith effort, but they didn't report any of their successes or how they actually did it. They just said, we did this, and this, but didn't say any outcomes or how did that impact.
Got it. That makes sense. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Took me a moment to remember.
I also have a question I'd like to bring up. It's related to MES, Emergency Services. They have some strange language in their equal opportunity and affirmative action policy.
New
That's a little bit,
policy?
yes. So on page 32, it's their first paragraph. It's very much not standard. Like they put some very, I guess, very specific things in there we haven't seen before, I suppose. So I'm just wondering if that's,
I would have to look at it because
Okay.
we don't have the full packet with
Gotcha.
us.
So they went out of their way to point out veterans of Vietnam, and veterans who served during a war in an active campaign, and it went on quite a bit about veterans. Most of the rest of the language was relatively normal. They didn't include some categories we do, but that's actually relatively common. But yeah, they did go on and on about how they are supporting especially Vietnam veterans. So
I think they wanted to show how diverse they have been with their outreach and with their support.
Well, you know, a lot of Vietnam veterans are probably far older than would be applying to work. I mean, the people who served in the Vietnam War, it was in the, by 75, I think it was about done. And so those folks would be getting pretty old to be applying, I think. But
But oftentimes, if companies aren't sure exactly what diversity we focus on, they try to really show where they're really putting efforts in.
yeah,
And it could be that they're working with veterans to bring in other veterans,
yeah,
and it may not be Vietnam War, but they may be going to VFWs or something like that, where they're getting the younger people, trying to recruit, through those entities.
right, yeah,
But I truly believe that a lot of times they want to show us we're really trying
yeah,
and want you to see that.
okay, yeah, no, it was a combination of that and then, like Pete mentioned, the just missing certain, like, other classes that we normally see that it's not in this, but that's,
Is that the good faith efforts?
no, this is their equal opportunity, or their
opportunity.
equal employment opportunity and affirmative action policy.
Oh, their policy.
yeah, the list reads race, religion, color, sex, physical or mental disability, national origin, age, status as a disabled veteran, veteran of Vietnam era, other covered veteran who served on an active duty during a war or in a campaign or expedition for which a campaign badge has been authorized, or any other protected group status as defined by law, and further to take affirmative action to employ and advance in employment qualified minorities, women, disabled individuals, disabled veterans, veterans of the Vietnam era, and other covered veterans. I wish to reaffirm and reemphasize that this policy applies throughout the company.
They really like veterans.
They really want to support veterans.
Want to support veterans.
And, yeah, I mean, I guess as far as missing categories in that, especially because our list, I mean, they didn't include, for instance, sexual orientation. They didn't include some other things that I think we would expect. But they did check the box at the
Got
top
it.
of the form that they agree that they're going to support our categories, so.
yes.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yes,
Thank you. So I'd like to do a couple of remarks regarding the agencies that the companies that we have for the review today. And I won't go over every single company, but I'll try to indicate some of the major things that I think are noteworthy. And yeah, so let's start from the Kirby Turner Masonry Inc. And the major activity of this company is related to masonry, I can see from here. And from the documentation submitted, we can also see that this company participate in various volunteer activities and also in different like fundraisers, which is really very impressive. But at the same time, when we look to we take a closer look to the numerical data that we have here regarding the demographic representation, we can see that they have like 28 employees and 25 of them are white and 3 of them identify as African Americans. And they do not have any representation from other demographics, such as like Hispanic, Latino, Asian, other racial groups or ethnic groups. Yeah, although it is, as I said, it is noteworthy and we recognize and appreciate their efforts in different fields, but we also would like to see some more equal representation of workforce, equal representation of different demographics in their workforce. And moving forward, there is another company here in my list, MES Service Company LLC. This agency is in sales and services of emergency equipment and uniforms, which is a very important business area. And they have 687 employees, individuals who work there, and 536 out of 687, which is 78%, are white. And only 151 or 22% are representatives from other demographics. So again, it is not even like representation, and I think if they put more effort in enlarging or expanding their demographic representation in their workforce, it will be great. And if they have that capacity, we would highly encourage them to do so. And the same goes with Rush Truck Centers of Illinois. I mean, to be faithful of our time, I won't go over all numerical data here, but the same goes with Rush Truck Centers of Illinois Inc., Western Waterproofing Company. And of course, there is just one pattern that the representation is a little bit uneven, and it calls for some kind of action. And we appreciate their efforts of creating new workplaces and doing business, but at the same time, we'd like to see numbers that at least some kind of equal representation of various demographics in their workforce. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Vahagan.
Peter wants to say something.
Pete?
It just on those comments, I do want to point out that, for instance, particularly MES, while they do have a 79% white workforce, you should note that the workforce for Deer Creek and Tazewell County, which is where they're located, is actually less diverse than that. So one of the things that I think we want to do as we review these is be careful to keep in mind where these folks are located. MES in particular doesn't have a huge selection of folks to pick from to develop a diverse workforce, and yet they've done relatively well compared to their local numbers. I agree with your other points, and I think in some cases we've seen companies that have made some efforts and have given us some documentation of the efforts they make, and I think we have to, as you did, give them some credit for that and hope that they build up in the future to more closely match. But I do think we want to keep very closely in mind where certain companies are, because some of them are in tiny towns or in faraway places that don't have a lot of diversity to begin with.
Yeah, thank you very much. I totally agree what you are saying, but that was the reason that I said, like, if they have that capacity to do that. Yeah, thank you.
Is there any other discussion? No? All right. All in favor of accepting the terms as Shalini read out for us, say aye.
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 All right, thank you. So the next agenda item is the discussion of HRC membership modification. Maybe, Carla, maybe you could start us off a little on this?
I had a conversation. Over the course of this year, we've been doing a lot of recruitment, trying to get new members in, and we have a really strong membership right now. But looking at the numbers, we will always, it seems like we always have those 3 vacant positions or 4 vacant positions. And so I wanted to see if the group, the board, was interested in if we lowered the membership down to 7 rather than 9. That would, we're already closer, so we would have less recruitment to do, but also it would also assist in ensuring that we can meet quorum. This quorum has to be in the room, and sometimes I know people have different life circumstances where they can't be here, so we want to ensure that having quorum in the room would help if we lowered. And looking back at the history since I've been here, we've never had 9 members. And Pete, I would defer to you because you've been here the longest. Since you've been here, have we had the 9 membership?
When I started, we had 9 pretty consistently. I'm trying to think of when it dropped off. There was a drop-off at some point, and I don't particularly remember when that happened, but for a few years when I started, it was 9. And we also had a non-voting member from the high school, a student who would come, and I don't remember if that was in the bylaw. I don't think it's in the ordinance. I think it was in the bylaws for a while to invite a student to come and give us a report of the high school and have them participate in the discussions. The only concern I have is that ordinance-wise, we have a fixed quorum of 4. No matter what number of members of the commission there are, the quorum is always 4. So reducing the numbers, the recruitment thing notwithstanding, which I think is something to consider, reducing the number doesn't help the quorum unless we change that. And I don't know that the city council is going to be on board with us having a quorum of 3 or less.
No, it wouldn't be. If a 7 would ensure 4 it would not change.
Right, but 9, still, we have 4.
There is some question about what constitutes quorum. Is it based on ordinance or is it based on what OMA says? And we've been having those conversations. And so if it's 9 members, quorum would be 5.
And a majority of a quorum would be 3. As far as I understand, and this is a question for legal.
We're having those conversations
Yeah,
now.
as it stands, our quorum has always been 4, and that's always what we've required to be in the room, even when the number was 9. Now, if if city legal, or for that matter, the state attorney general thinks that that can't be done, then it's possible bringing it down to 7 is reasonable. I don't think we have that much business that having 9 and having subcommittees of any size is actually that useful. But I think the question's more about that quorum number than it is about the actual the actual size of the commission.
And we've invited the clerk to come and to explain to us what the rules are,
Okay.
so that we can just to make sure that we have what we need.
I would enjoy hearing from the clerk. I think that's a great idea. And I also, recruitment is difficult, and we, even if we were to drop down to 7, we still have 2 openings. And I think 1 opening. What did I say, 2? It's okay. That was a math thing. So I apologize to that 6th person for forgetting. Anyway, 1. So we would only need 1, but we've struggled, and we may struggle again. And I would be in favor, just from that point of view, of going down to 7 with a quorum of 4, but in the room, we would have to have that.
As Pete said, it's in the
The
ordinance currently,
Right.
but there would be a difference if 9 and we're required to have 5 in the room.
Okay.
That would be our challenge.
Okay, and is that a difference between the open meetings, or the Attorney General's
That's some of the-
interpretation?
That's some of the interpretation that is my understanding. And
Right.
so that's why I've asked the clerk if she could come and have that conversation so that we know that we're all on the same page.
Okay, so would we put the clerk on next month's?
We can put her on the next month's agenda if, I would have to check and see if she's ready. But if
Okay.
she's ready, because I know she was wanting to put together a presentation.
Okay,
So if she's ready, but I think she would be willing to come and have a conversation
yeah.
regardless.
I think that would be very helpful to us. Are there other questions or part of the discussion? Nope. Pete?
And I take it the plan here is if we're told 7, that the quorum is higher because of, some legal outcome, we would be making a recommendation to city council, because we can't change that, right? That's ordinance-based, the 9 right now.
Yeah, we would write a letter, or you guys would write a letter, a letter of support for the changes.
And I would say, if the quorum is set to 4, no matter what, if that turns out to be the case, I don't think it really matters whether we have the actual number 7 or 9. It's not going to change the quorum. And if we get lucky, a particular year and people get excited about some issue and everyone wants to join, that actually helps us because it'll keep the odds that we keep the quorum higher, so.
My concern has been, since my tenure, is that the boards have ebbed and flowed, and we've had opportunities where we would either have to have special meetings or we couldn't have meetings because we didn't meet. And numbers come into play with that. And so that would be my most concern, is if we lose any members, it makes it more challenging.
And I presume the CPRB is also having the same discussion, because I think they are lower in their numbers than we are currently.
Yeah, and that's why we're having the conversation, is so we can
Right.
see how to best ensure that we can have meetings and make decisions and have discussions.
Very good. So I don't think we need a vote to do anything with this right now, except just let you know that having Darcy come and do a presentation as soon as she can. If she can't do it next month, then, but I think that would be helpful, and we'd all learn a little something about government work. Okay. Any other conversation about that particular thing? Okay. Well, thank you all. Carla, officers report.
It is now. Thank you. Thank you. Whoever. The mic gods. Okay. There are no open complaints right at this time. For contacts and informal complaints, I'm going to give you an update on June's 2 informal inquiries. Both involve potential ADA violations. One potential client filed with the Illinois Department of Human Rights, and that person may return to the OHRE pending the IDHR investigation, and IDHR is the Illinois Department of Human Rights. Instead of having 2 cases at once, they're going to go forth with IDHR, and then based on the outcome of that one, decide if they want to file with the OHRE. The other potential complaint is close to resolution, and we're working with both parties. We haven't had a formal complaint, but we're just trying to help mitigate so that they can each get what they need. One person contacted the office to get a better understanding of the 12.5 landlord-tenant relationship ordinance, specifically interested in accumulating accumulating interest, specifically interest accumulating on rental deposits. Say that one back. One caller was seeking assistance from a consumer support agency due to receiving an estimate for car repairs and leaving a deposit, and then later told they would need to pay more money for additional repairs made before they were consulted. And the mechanic is refusing to release the car before payment, and they were referred to the Attorney General's office regarding consumer affairs. One person called and came to the office seeking understanding of the office's services and assistance with placing them in housing. No jurisdiction or authority with their issues, referred them to Cunningham Township and other social service organizations. Office activity, at the June meeting, it was asked what the MMUR acronym stood for, used by PJ Hare. Staff stated that we would find out, and it means Monthly Manpower Utilization Report.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Completed 2 trainings, the IDOT ADA Coordinators Group and the Illinois Commission on Discrimination and Hate Crimes. They hosted an event, and it was on addressing hate models, and they took us through a simulation of one of the frameworks. Juneteenth activities concluded on June 18th at the Urbana Park District's Health and Wellness Center. Due to a severe storm and power outage, the event moved to the City Council chambers. The presentations and panel discussions were engaging and a dynamic way to end the holiday celebrations. Tom attended Neighborhood Nights recruitment events at Blair Park on July 2nd and Crestview Park on July 9th. And Tom and I both attended a ribbon cutting for a new business which opened in downtown Urbana, Olive and Orchard. A variety of infused flavored oils, olive oils, jellies, jams, vinegars, started as a vendor in the market on the square. The business will also feature Our Popped It flavored popcorn, Tom and I both had banana pudding popcorn. It sounds weird, but it was, oh my gosh. It was extremely delicious, and it tasted like, Southern banana pudding. Our Pop It is also a vendor at the Market on the Square. And moments in human rights history, on this day, July 15th, 1870, the last Confederate state, Georgia, is readmitted to the United States. July 15, 1951, Mary Wright Ovington died in Massachusetts. Ovington had been an activist on a variety of issues, including consumer rights, women's suffrage, and pacifism. Along with many others, including W.E.B. Du Bois, she was a co-founder of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and she became its first executive secretary. July 15, 1954, U.S. Border Patrol begins Operation Wetback, in which agents deport more than 1 million people to Mexico and stop Mexican-looking people on the street to demand identification. July 15, 1978, The Longest Walk, a 2,800-mile trek for Native American justice concluded in Washington, D.C. It had begun in California to call attention to a lack of jobs and housing, as well as in opposition to numerous bills in Congress, which threatened treaty rights and cultural survival. The walk was a success in that none of the bills the walkers opposed passed into law. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you, Carla.
You're welcome.
Very interesting as usual. Okay. I have a little pop quiz. I know Shalini's been waiting for this. In the report that we got this week, the city of Pekin is the sort of mentioned in one of the I forget what they're called. What are these? What are the overviews? So the city of Pekin was mentioned, and there was an interesting little notation about Pekin. Does anyone know what that little note? No cheating. So if you read the thing cover to cover, it might have caught your eye, or maybe I'm just a weirdo. I don't know.
I know that at one time, their high school athletic team, is this where we're headed with this?
Nope, but what about it? Was it called the Warriors or
No,
something?
no, way more racially
Oh, okay.
charged than that.
Oh, well, okay.
They were the Pekin Chinks.
Really?
Yes, up until the 1960s, maybe early 70s.
Wow.
So I obviously didn't read it cover to cover.
No, but you knew something about Pekin, so. And so, anyway, no,
First time.
isn't it? I know. The home of Senator Everett Dirksen, a famous senator from Illinois, was from Pekin. Now, I found that interesting, and I also wondered how often you put little things like that, little Easter eggs in there.
Anywhere from 4 to 20 per month.
Okay, fair.
We better,
They're usually in there every month.
yeah. I didn't go back to look at some of the old ones, but I found it interesting, and it made me want to read them more closely, so thank you.
The gauntlet has been dropped.
Oh, yes. Yes, it has. Okay. So That was just a little pop quiz. This commission has 3 openings, and our next scheduled meeting is Tuesday, August 19th, 5:30 PM, right here in the City Council chambers. And with that, I think we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.